So this video is essentially just me complaining about something on TikTok that upsets me, but I know I'm not the only person that thinks this way and that a lot of people actually think this way. So I found this lady on TikTok because I saw a different TikTok about the gender pay gap and I was questioning which side was correct. Is it real or not? When I heard about gender pay gap, like many people, I assumed it meant that a man and a woman could both do the same job for the same hours, like at a convenience store or something, but the man would be paid a $0.25 more than the woman will just because he's a man. Found a video that explained the side of things where they just say pay gap isn't real.
The 77 cents on the dollar statistic is calculated by dividing the median earnings of all women working full-time by the median earnings of all men working full-time. In other words, if the average income of all men is, say, $40,000 a year, and the average annual income of all women is, say, $30,800, that would mean that women earn 77 cents for every dollar a man earns. 30,800 divided by 40,000 equals 0.77. But these calculations don't reveal a gender wage injustice because they don't take into account occupation, position, education, or hours worked per week.
So it basically says that men don't get paid more, they just end up earning more. I don't know if this is true, so I found a video that I thought would change my mind.
Gender pay gap doesn't exist. Women just choose lower paying jobs. Welcome to dumb shit people say I can disprove in just under a minute. So you often hear people say that women earn less because they choose lower paying professions like teaching or nursing. And
So at this point in the video I thought, oh, she's about to disprove what the other video said that I just watched.
while it's true that on average these jobs are lower paid today, that wasn't always the case. Before women were allowed to have jobs that require qualifications, it was men who occupied all of the professions we considered as feminine today. For instance, nurses used to be exclusively male, but then as women started to move into those occupations, they began paying less. And that's also confirmed by the largest study on this topic to date, done by Paula England. In some professions, wages declined as much as 57 percentage points when they went from being predominantly male to female. In some others, they declined by 34 or 21. So no, women don't choose lower paying jobs. Jobs become lower paid when women take over a previously male-dominated field.
Yeah, she's basically just saying that a job's general salary, man or woman, will go down, leading to everyone getting paid less because more women are taking the jobs. This is not true. Yes, the salaries did go down, but it doesn't have anything to do with gender. It's because as we progressed as a society, women stopped depending on men for income and started getting more jobs of their own, making the total number of workers go up. This is why the wage is lowered. If you're wondering why more workers leads to lower wages, here's a video explaining why. Hey man, do you like your job? Yes, I love getting paid $10 every day. Cool. It's very expensive for me to pay you those $10 every day though. Okay, that sucks. Anyways, I told a jobless woman about this position as well, and she also seemed interested. Here she is. But if I hire this woman, then you won't have a job anymore. I know, but why would you fire me and hire her if you'd be paying us both the same exact amount of money for the same exact job? Oh yeah, you're right. Hey woman, do you want to work a job and get your own money? Yes. Okay, if you work for me, I'll give you $7 every day. Sure. Okay, cool. Hey Tom, you're fired. But if you fire me to hire a jobless woman for cheaper, over time, won't that eventually destroy everybody's wages? You know, if you're only looking for someone who will do the exact same job for less money? Yeah, but it's cheaper for me, so I'm gonna keep doing it and firing the original workers. This happens to be a great segue into the other TikTok this lady made. The reason women don't need men to survive is because they started getting their own jobs and their own salaries. Not that this is a bad thing, but I'm pretty sure it was the original spark of the male loneliness epidemic. Anyways, she's basically just saying men aren't nice people because women depend on them, but when women stop depending on them, the men are very sad to find out they may need to start actually being nice, which is a brain-dead take. The reason men are lonely is because originally all you needed was a salary to get a woman, but now a salary isn't enough, since women have that too, and also need to learn to acquire many other things that a woman may want in order to attract them. But we didn't know how to do that. So this guy, in 1950, only needs a salary to get a woman. He has a son with that woman and thinks, one day my son will have a great salary, so he too can get a woman. That son grows up in 1980 and he says, but Dad, this woman has a salary too. She doesn't need me like Mom needed you. So what do I do, of course? And this guy's like, bruh, and dies. So now this guy has to learn how to get a woman all on his own. Oh, I have an idea. I'll go down to the video store and talk to the cute cashier that I've liked for so long. She doesn't like him. Oh, I have an idea. I'll go to the library and hit on that cute librarian. She doesn't like him. Oh, I'll hit on that cute waitress from the coffee shop. He falls in love with her and they have a baby. That baby grows up to be a teenager and it's now 2005. But also, the internet is here now. His friend that he met on a chat room sends him a link. He now has access to everything he's ever fantasized about having in real life, but now it's just a click away. Son, do you have any friends? Sure I do. How come they never come over? Because they all live in separate states around the country. They're my internet friends. But don't you want to go outside, see the world, talk to people? I can see the world on Google Images. I can talk to people online. People with all the same interests as me. Real friends. I don't need to go outside because anything I could want out there, I have access to in here. Okay, nerd. 10 years later, the son is now an adult. Hey son, don't you want a real connection with a girl? You know, someone you can hug or have sex with? Yes. Why don't you go outside and find yourself a girl? That's impossible. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Okay, then. If that was too hard to understand, I'll explain it even simpler. Your grandpa needs to get a good salary so that a woman will want him and depend on him. Then your grandpa and that woman had a child, which was your father. Your father starts to learn as he grows up that women are getting salaries now too, so he needs to get his own salary and figure out how to attract a woman. He goes outside and shoots his shot with many girls until one of them likes him back. Those two get married, your mother and your father. Then they have you, and you begin to grow up with the internet, something that neither of the prior generations grew up with. Dad buys you a computer and you get to explore the internet. You discover porn at a young age thanks to this computer, and since you're only 12, you get addicted. Your young mind is blasted with dopamine every time you see a big pair of boobs, so why wouldn't you look at them 24/7? You get addicted to porn and you grow into an adult, 22 years old. After nutting almost every day for 10 years, you develop social anxiety, distorted beliefs about sex and society, and it's very difficult for you to express your emotions properly. Your brain has been destroyed by the internet and you become an incel. I'm not saying that as an insult, I'm using the literal meaning of the word. Incel means involuntarily celibate, which means you can't have sex and you don't have a choice over the matter. And since sex is about 40% of what all men think about, you develop depression. You fantasize and dream about having a woman like your father and grandfather did, but it was much easier for them to get a woman than it is for you. Because of this, you either get sexually frustrated and take out your emotions on others, or you get depressed and kill yourself. That basically explains the male loneliness epidemic and mostly why men make up for 79% of suicides. Anyways, here's a screenshot of a different TikTok this lady made. Related, but don't you just love when people type out a long paragraph on a video-based platform while just staring at the screen waiting for you to read their opinion? It reminds me of those YouTube tutorials that people make where, like, if they don't have a microphone, they just open the Notepad app and type the instructions one by one for you to read. Anyways, I'm going to split this into two parts and explain why this is so bad. I don't actually think men will ever understand how enraging it is to grow up in this society as a woman and be continuously told that men are only after one thing and they shouldn't be trusted.
Are you serious right now?
Now, I'm not saying that it must suck for women to learn that it's actually really difficult for them to find a good partner who loves them, but she's starting the paragraph by saying, I don't think men will ever truly understand how enraging it is to grow up in this society as a woman, and her reason for that is being that everybody tells her that men suck and can't be trusted. How does she not see how stupid this is? It's like if a therapist says, I don't think my patients understand how triggering their trauma can be towards me. Like, I know you were beat by your alcoholic dad, but you telling me all the details about it, like, I don't want to hear that. The point of this analogy, of course, being that her life is made more difficult because everybody says that men as a whole are untrustworthy, then imagine how the men must feel. By her logic, a man growing up in this society where everybody tells women, aka the one thing that every guy wants, to not trust men and that men suck, that man is probably going to be enraged. The point is that women growing up in a society where everybody tells women that men suck is very enraging to the woman, and men will never understand that. The second part of the paragraph says, to then find out that if a man does assault us, the first assumption most people, including the authorities, have is that we must be lying. This is not true. The majority of society, excluding the police, will believe the woman. If the woman tells you, I was raped or I was assaulted, you'll probably think, damn, that sucks. Not, oh really? Did that really happen? I think you're lying. I mean, how could you possibly say that most people assume you're lying about that? With the police, I don't know if they'll think you're lying or not, but it doesn't really matter what they think. Their job is to enforce the legal system, not their own opinions. I assume what she means by this is that if you go to your local police station as a woman and say that someone raped you, that person might not go to jail. Our legal system relies on evidence, hence the saying innocent until proven guilty, and rape is really hard to prove, which leads to no consequences for the offender. I assume this is the reason why she said police won't even believe you, but if the police did just arrest everyone who was accused of anything, as long as they believed it, without needing any proof, you could just get anybody in the country arrested at any time just by accusing them of something illegal. In the end, charging for those crimes where it's just a he said, she said situation is really difficult, so it's not like the system wants to just let rapists get away with it. It's that the system sucks, and neither side really wins in the end other than the guy who did the raping.
If sex really sells, then we would have penises everywhere.
No, you're just dumb.
But we don't, do we? No, instead we have boobs and asses and other female body parts being constantly used to sell us everything from chicken burgers, beer, perfume to car insurance. And that's because sex doesn't sell. Women's bodies do.
Yeah, women's bodies sell because men love women's bodies far more than women love men's bodies. She just blabbers through this video basically complaining that when we say sex sells, we actually mean that women sell. It's like you take a crack addict and you say, hey man, wanna buy this new cologne? If you wear this cologne, rumor has it, all drug dealers will smell it and give away free crack. You like that, don't you? Oh, hell yeah. Versus just taking a non-crack addict and advertising the same thing to them. Hey, wanna buy this new cologne? If you wear this cologne, rumor has it, all drug dealers will smell it and give away free crack. You like that, don't you? No, why would I want that? This next TikTok may make her account seem like a joke, like she's just trying to get likes from misandrists, but I assure you, none of it is satire.
It's such a common talking point that if only men weren't so sexually frustrated, they would stop committing all these mass shootings and other violent acts. But last time I checked, it's women, and specifically straight women, who are the most sexually frustrated demographic there is.
I know a lot of you can't believe she just said that, or how anybody could possibly agree with that, but there's key information that you're missing here, and even that she's missing.
According to recent statistics, 46% of women report not being sexually satisfied. And yet you don't see many of us becoming violent, do you? It's almost like violence has nothing to do with sex or lack thereof, and everything to do with violent and misogynistic ideologies so many men today subscribe to.
Her point is basically that, also, yes, I'm mansplaining her point every single time she tries to make a point because she, fuck women. I'm joking, but, her point is basically that incels aren't killing people because they're incels, but they're killing people because of Andrew Tate. What I assume she doesn't understand about the statistics she read is that, quote-unquote, 46% of women report not being sexually satisfied does not mean that those women are sexually frustrated. Those women are saying that they don't have a good time in bed, not that it's impossible for them to get laid. The men, however, if they do get laid, are definitely gonna bust. The incels are killing people because they see it as impossible for them to get laid. The 46% of unsatisfied women aren't killing people because they don't experience the same issue or the same desire for sex. Yeah, anyways, next TikTok. Nothing she says in this one really matters other than the first sentence. It's all just wrong, and, I'm too lazy to explain why it's wrong.
Isn't it funny how a few women online saying they hate men is enough for some of you to lose empathy for all women, and yet no amount of...
I'm just bringing up this specific TikTok to point out her hypocrisy in a different TikTok. Since I'm not the kind of person to make you read an entire paragraph on your own because I was too lazy to use my own voice like this lady is, I'll read it to you. Men claim they're the protectors, and yet my ex watched his friend sexually assault me at a party in front of him, and when I confronted him about it, he just said that I'm being crazy. Even when other women came forward with similar stories, he continued to deny seeing anything. The only thing men truly protect is one another and their right to do whatever they want to us. Yes, those guys are horrible. By the way, I have to virtue signal throughout this entire video so nobody misunderstands my tone or opinions, but anyways. You generalize all men by saying the only thing we want to protect is other men and our right to do whatever we want to women, which is just so stupid. I know it sounds like I'm saying, but not all men, and yeah, that's pretty much is what I'm saying, but my point is much more than that. You can't generalize men if you're also going to shame others for generalizing women. You shamed this person for pointing out all the misandry flooding your comment sections. They did generalize women at the end by saying they've lost empathy for them after seeing hundreds of women spout their non-empathetic misandry, but in this TikTok, you generalize men because of an experience you had involving only 2 men. Anyways, here's the next TikTok.
Men always did everything to protect women. Welcome to Dumb Shit People Say I Can Disprove in just under a minute. The narrative that men are the natural protectors of women is as old as time, but it's more literary fiction than a historical reality.
No, it's not.
Take Middle Ages, for instance. We're all familiar with the stories of knights in shining armor rescuing damsels in distress. But as historian Richard Walker once put it, they're as far removed from the reality of Middle Ages as they are from our own. Because they aren't based on the behavior of actual knights, but the ideas of European neo-romantic writers in the late 19th century. Even the women and children first thing was never true either. It got popularized thanks to Titanic, but actually according to a study of sea disasters spanning 3 centuries, it's women who had the lowest survival rates, as men almost always left them behind. So no, men aren't our protectors. If anything, you could make a stronger case, they're our natural predators.
I mean, it's been this way for a very long time. Like back in caveman times, there would be hunters and gatherers. The gatherers typically being women, hunters typically being men. If a caveman was sleeping in a cave with his cave wife and cave baby, and then a cave wolf comes in, the man is going to fight the wolf and protect his family because he is the most physically capable of it. However, in modern society, these scenarios aren't reasonable, so a lot of men just use their strength to hurt women and control them, which is the minority of men, meaning most men don't abuse and rape women. So it's goofy to call men women's natural predators. So let me get this straight. Hurricanes and storms used to be named exclusively after women, and the most powerful still are, and yet the moment women take up space and demand respect and refuse to crap sunshine on command, we're told it's not ladylike. There should be nothing more ladylike than being a force to reckon with, just like all the natural disasters you named us after. Okay, so hurricanes aren't named after women because of some misogynistic desire to put down women by comparing them to hurricanes. And just because they gave hurricane feminine names doesn't mean that you should act like the human embodiment of a hurricane. You can stand up for yourself, and I could be wrong, but if someone gets upset because you're taking up space or demanding respect, then you shouldn't be offended if they say you're not ladylike. I mean, obviously, if a woman wanting respect bugs them, then you shouldn't care whether that person thinks you're ladylike or not. You shouldn't care about anything that person thinks. Next TikTok.
So I just found out that 82-year-old Al Pacino is expecting a child with his 29-year-old girlfriend. And although there's been a bit of outrage online following this news, I can't help but feel if Al Pacino were a woman, this outrage would be infinitely worse.
How could you possibly think this? Have you ever seen those stories of like female teachers sleeping with their male students and how they either don't face very harsh consequences or nobody is really upset at them, but a male teacher sleeping with his female student is rightfully put in jail for a long time and basically crucified? I mean, how could you possibly think people would react worse to an old woman with a young man versus an old man with a young woman?
Because we literally shame women for having kids in their 40s and sometimes even late 30s. But somehow a guy having a child in his 80s is not that bad. I mean...
Oh, She she she's not even saying it's creepy. That's not even her argument. She's saying people would be more mad at the woman because apparently in her mind, most people don't like women who have kids past the age of 40. I'm so done with this video. And now the next TikTok.
When you realize you're only weeks away from men starting to go around shirtless and no one will bat an eye, but when you'll wear a crop top or even just a summer dress, you'll have to deal with the insufferable creeps everywhere. Oh, how I love our society's double standards when it comes to this crap.
I'm honestly confused about what she's complaining about here. Is she saying that she doesn't like seeing men not get the same amount of attention for their bodies as women do? Because the reason for that is very simple. Women don't like men's bodies as much as men like women's bodies. As I said before, it's like if you walk around with a free crack shirt down a street with a bunch of crackheads versus just walking down a street with no crackheads with the same shirt on. The man, of course, being the one walking around sober people, the woman being the one surrounded by crackheads. And virtue signaling again, I'm not saying that it's not an issue that women get catcalled. I'm just saying that even though women get catcalled, you can't expect men to also get catcalled because women don't like men as much as men like women. One more TikTok, and this is probably the only TikTok she made that wasn't completely brain dead and actually kind of represented a real problem.
POV, you're a woman on the internet.
Like, who says this? Like, what do you gain from telling someone this? Actually, you probably gained some followers since his username is in the screenshot that she put in the TikTok, but yeah, all the screenshots other than that one that she put in the slideshow are just things that every gamer hears on a daily basis and probably says too. I'm not trying to say, well, you're not the only one that gets told to kill yourself. I just mean, people have all said these things to me and everyone else on the internet just for disagreeing with them, or sometimes for no reason at all. But by putting out brain-dead, misandrist content like these TikToks, you're really inviting it. The title shouldn't say, POV, you're a woman on the internet, because this is not the experience they have. You should have titled it, POV, you disagree with somebody on the internet. The experience most women have on Instagram DMs, I'd assume, is guys trying to shoot their shot by saying stuff like, you're so fine, or something like that. And come on, this one is clearly meant to be a joke. Anyways, that's the end of my very first YouTube video, wink wink. I hope you liked it, and if you did like it, then, you know, press the like button, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. So, peace.